Hi reloaders, my name is Jerry. I've been reloading for about 16 years. In the past year and a half I just upgraded to a progressive press, one with Hornady lock and load. With that came the infamous powder spill issue that I ran into, and I think most do. It seems prevalent with 9mm rounds. It seems to be the common problem with the powder spilling as the indexed round. So I found three solutions. I've tried each three. I'm going to give you my experience with each. Maybe it'll help you, maybe it won't. But here we go. The first trick doesn't seem to cost anything at all. You can try at home. Would be resetting the bearings on the shell plate. Using a 3/16 punch, tapping down, and trying to get the ball bearings to where they're just rise right off the plate. That does help. It actually did help the jogging and the powder spill from actually flying out of the case. I noticed with that, when I did finally get that set up, I noticed I did have to change my speed and my rotation a little bit. It didn't solve the problem 100%, but when I did change my speed, I noticed I can eliminate that in most cases, the powder spill. So that doesn't cost anything to try it, but you still ultimately have that problem. It doesn't go away. It's always there in the back of your mind when you try to show other reloaders how to operate the press. They don't have the skill, the timing to keep it from jumping around. So it's just something that it just bothers you. It just doesn't go away. The second trick I saw on YouTube was the O-ring. Replacing it, getting rid of this, and replacing it with these. There are the O-rings. It comes in a pack of 25 on Amazon. It was about 15 bucks. This is year 2022. So it ran about 15 bucks to pick these up. And I gotta say, I tried these, put this on, and I was blown away. That powder spill stopped dead in its tracks. I was like, it was a shock. It was like, oh my God. So I was so happy. I reloaded about 50 rounds to see if there were any issues. Didn't seem to be, but then I did some decapping, and I ran about maybe 500 rounds, and I noticed after about 200 rounds that the case had started sticking onto the rubber O-ring. There was more friction. The O-ring needs to be, what I found, lubricated. So if you take and use a little hops, you add a little oil to it on your O-ring, put it back on, keep it lubed after about 200 rounds or 200 shells, it seems to run good. So, but again, you got to stop, lubricate your ring every couple hundred rounds. It is a solution. So, and third, the last one, the Arbor shims. Got these on Amazon. Now, the solution with shims is you take your plate off here with these two screws, lift this up, remove your drive hub, and add, usually it's just one O-ring, but it was about a 7/1000th of a shim. I added to the drive hub, put it back on, set it back up. Believe me, I sat here and I did every combination of shim possible to try it. If you add too much shim, your plate will not rotate. You'll be binding and sticking. If you don't add enough, you didn't solve the problem. So, but eventually I did find that it was 75/1000 shim worked perfect. Went on the drive hub, reassembled it, put it back together. At that point, I actually did a good cleaning, because I had the thing tore apart. Put it all back together, and bam, it solved the problem. But I did have to readjust. I went back into my shell plate because I had been playing with it previously trying to fix this problem, tapping the bearings in and back and forth. I did have to go back in and just readjust my bearings, make sure that they were just flush, a little above flush, and that's all you need once you have that one shim, and it fixed the problem. I don't have it anymore. It actually solved a couple of little problems that I wasn't expecting to happen. I had noticed, and this is just my experience that I've had, I always had a problem where when I was seating bullets and crimping, my height on my overall length would always seem to vary slightly. I can never fix that problem. It just always seems slightly, a little bit less, a little bit more, a hundred thousandths, but it always bothered me a little bit. But I noticed once I did this, when I ran a batch of about 109s, and that bullet was the same height from the first one to the last one. It solved that problem for me anyway, as well as the powder spill. So you do get some jogging a little bit with the powder as it does rotate around, but it's not popping up and it's not popping out. Now you can get it to throw powder if you really give it a good jerk, but we don't normally do that when we're reloading. It's usually a smooth sort of progression anyway. And again, the shims fixed it. So the shims were about 32 bucks from Amazon. So again, I'm happy with that. I like going back to the old spring, so that kind of solved the problem for me. Again, these are my experiences. I thought I would share each one with you and talk about the cost. I didn't go into a detail. I didn't want to bore you with an hour video on how to fix it and do it. I'm sure you can look up on how to do these individually on the machine. So again, thank you and hope this helps somebody.